Hello everybody and welcome back to another Walking Dead video, and today we'll be talking about Fear the Walking Dead and Morgan, to be specific, because there has been news that Lennie James, the actor who plays Morgan, is actually in talk with AMC and the showrunner of The Walking Dead to jump back in to The Walking Dead Season 11 and be in the last 8 episodes, the third part of Season 11. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do that, make sure to click on the link in the top right that says click me, because you will find more Walking Dead content. I guarantee you will find something that you like there. If you don't, come back and give me a hate message, but I guarantee you will find something there. Now let's go back into the video, and so today I'm going to talk about how will this happen, because I think that this is definitely going to happen. It's very likely that Lennie James will film for the third part of The Walking Dead Season 11. I think he would be brung back for the final season. It makes sense. I feel like Morgan was never meant to be on Fear forever. It was always meant to be a timed thing. But Dwight was meant to be an always thing from Season 5 onwards. But Morgan, I feel like it's his time to go back, okay? And I feel like it's very likely that he will go back and film some sort of small role for the final 8 episodes. I also think this small role and Lennie James going over to The Walking Dead for the final episodes is the crossover event that we were talking about months ago, but we always assumed it was going to be on Fear because every crossover event has been from The Walking Dead to Fear. But I feel like because The Walking Dead's ending, they're going to do Fear to The Walking Dead, and I see Morgan's role in this kind of crossover event being literally, he tells everyone where they have been, what has he been through, and the CRM. I feel like Morgan going over to The Walking Dead will be somehow connected to the CRM, and he will literally, they'll go over there and they'll be like, oh, they'll find out something about the CRM, and they'll probably find Morgan, and they'll be like, hey Morgan, where have you been? And they'll tell a story, and he'll mention the CRM, and I feel like Morgan is there to maybe set up the Rick movies with the CRM. So now that we've talked about what we think Morgan will do, how do we think he will get there? Because Fear the Walking Dead is 6 years behind The Walking Dead. And because of that massive time jump and time gap that they have, I think a lot of things could happen. And I have some theories of how Morgan could end up over there. So my first theory is that the end of Season 7, I think Morgan will be abducted by the CRM. And he would eventually have a maybe similar ending to Rick, where maybe I think Strand shoots Morgan. Everyone assumes Morgan's dead. Alicia kills Strand. And Morgan goes off. And he probably goes off to do one movie, and then he would end up at the CRM. Because the first Rick movie, I think, takes place at the same time as World Beyond, which is 2 years before The Walking Dead. So he goes off to do a movie, he's in like maybe the first Rick movie, and then we see him in the CRM area in the Commonwealth, and then that sets off the second Rick movie with all the other characters from the Commonwealth. Another idea that I have is that Morgan going over to The Walking Dead is not a permanent thing, and we won't lose Morgan on Fear because of the massive time gap. I feel like maybe when we see him in Season 11, it's a future Morgan that has gone through the rest of the timeline for Fear, and we probably see him in Season 11 of The Walking Dead, and we get a few hints what happened to him in Fear, and then in Season 8 we will continue like nothing's gone on until we may build up to maybe in the final season of Fear, Morgan goes to the Commonwealth. And that's how Fear ends, with Morgan going to the Commonwealth. And then it makes sense how Morgan got to the Commonwealth. I feel like this could be the more likely one, because Lennie James going, hey, I want to go back to The Walking Dead for 8 episodes, and losing his starring role on The Walking Dead's spin-off show, Fear the Walking Dead, I feel like that won't happen. I feel like he's like, can I just have a cameo in that show and come back to Fear next season? So these are the two ways that I see Morgan get into the Commonwealth if this does happen. It's either he gets abducted by the CRM and he ends up there after doing an adventure, and he does all the things, maybe in a movie or two, and he ends up at the Commonwealth, or he goes through all of Fear and travels to the Commonwealth, maybe with his family, or maybe alone because he's like there on, I don't know, maybe a trade deal or something like that. Maybe he ends up there and he's nothing to do with the CRM until he meets Daryl and Carol. So maybe that's the two ways he could do it, but there'd be slight variations. Maybe he gets abducted later on. Maybe he takes someone with him, okay? But with only talks of Morgan going, will there be anyone else from Fear going over to The Walking Dead? And I think no. I think we're just gonna get Morgan. and no Fear characters will be making the journey with Morgan to The Walking Dead for the final episodes. But this is what I think. What do you think about this news? What are your theories? How do you think this is going to happen? Please tell me. I'd really like to know what you think and what your opinions are. I'd like to know. So look on the screen if you want more Walking Dead content. There's tons. It should be somewhere on the screen. And this is it now. So goodbye. Peace out. And I will talk to you later. So goodbye.